Sometimes you do things in life, one thing just click and you just like, this was my purpose on earth. And I think powerlifting at the moment is my purpose.
Quasiment toute ma vie, mais je pense que les valeurs personnelles que je porte aujourd'hui, je les ai grâce à ce sport-là.
People always try to predict what will happen based on what you see in training. I have potential to do it, but what matters is the platform.
The hard work really paid off, and I'm proud of myself. I'm hungry for more.
I'm looking to push everything now. I'm going to be training like a madman.
What are you 100% sure you can lift today?
It means the world to me, really. I don't see myself doing anything else than powerlifting at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of the 2026 European Open Classic Powerlifting Championships. We're live from St. Julian's, Malta, and this championship is brought to you by Maniac Fitness. My name is Alexandre Naudin. I'm pleased to be your host today, and to my left is the one and only Amelia Potter.
Good morning, Alex. We are in for some fantastic lifting this morning. Of course, we see the same 2 weight classes this morning and later on.
Yeah, which is awesome. It gives us a clear view how we can compare those lifters. The B group being the developing ground lifters we're going to see in the A group in the later years. So this morning, 57s, only 7 of them was supposed to be 8. And supposedly 8 74s. It's going to be 8 and 9 in the A group in the afternoon. The A group starts at 4 local time. Openers ranging from 120 to 152.5 in the B group of the 57s. The biggest opener belonging to Beatriz Acevedo representing Portugal. We're seeing more and more lifters out of Portugal. We love to see it. And the first one to open is Natella Meshavili from Georgia, 120. Registered PB or 105. So that's 15 kilos above that. What in the world?
Yeah, seeing a lot of athletes yesterday as well coming in around about or even some above their personal best, whether that's just they've had a gap in their training, some progression, they've gone up weight classes, lots of different reasons, but whatever it is, let's hope that is because the strength has increased. We of course in the past have seen athletes and coaches be a little overzealous, but I imagine on the first lift of the day that won't be the case here for Natala.
Yeah, so that 105 PB was posted at Euros last year, so it's a whole year of training. That makes more sense.
It does, but even opening 15 kilos above your personal best is still wow.
Yeah. So there we go. We're gonna see how it looks coming in beltless, which is interesting. We see more and more of that during deadlifts, but very rare on squats.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that. It's becoming slightly more common on the deadlift, but very interesting.
It's going to be a no lift. We're seeing a red from the front for lack of depth. Could not figure out what that blue could be for. Maybe failure to stand erect at lockout.
Yeah, I'm just watching again. Yeah, it looks like her hips aren't quite through there. A couple of things she has to tidy up for the second.
The thing is, she biased a lot of lumbar extension, and maybe that's why she could not lock out. But this is where a belt could come in handy. Now setting up is Susana Gasparovic, Croatia, 120.
7.5 kilos off Susanna's best here with her opening attempt. Next year she'll be entering the M1 age category. A little tough for her opener. Let's wait for those lights. There we go, 3 white lights on the board, which is exactly what you want to see, especially if the opener's a little bit tougher than you would expect.
Now into a representative of Czechia, Anna Bukalova, 125. She's going to feel at home on the platform, with the spotting crew being mostly Czech, but some of them are Slovaks.
Lovely opener.
Yeah, that looks very comfortable. 3 white lights. Not much more you can ask out of an opener. Looking all tidy, great tension on the way down, proper depth. All good. Now onto the Irish, Catherine Kilmartin, 132.5.
First Irish athlete we've seen so far this championships. Lovely deep looking opener there for Catherine.
3 white lights. A slightly wider stance that we're used to seeing in the 57s. Slight knee cave on the way up, it works for her. And plenty of depth from that squat.
Yeah, no issues there whatsoever.
Now 140 kilos for Nelly Westerlund from Finland. To the 1, a good lift. 1 red coming from the left hand side, surely being the right hip. Quick glance at the replay. Keep in mind this is the angle from which she receives a white, and I can understand why. But very possible for one hip to be higher up than the other. Now to Tota Jakubovic, 140 kilos. Not the fastest, but convincing enough. It's going to be 3 white lights. I must say, so far this championship, we haven't seen lifters that stressed out with their opener. We haven't seen real shaky openers, and then a second attempt that's way much better. So far, these lifters have been poised on the platform and looking good. Final opener of the B group. Beatriz Acevedo, 152.5. Second international competition for her. Last time she unfortunately bombed out on bench press. Hopefully it goes differently today.
Nice quick opener, very quick down into the hole. Good lift, 3 wide light.
Do you say that because you smell trouble with more weight, or not really?
Well, I mean, it's just a certain style that the momentum loses out of the hole. It's a bit harder to get it going again, but I don't necessarily think there's trouble if it's something that she paces well and she knows her own strength.
We're gonna enter the second round of squat with the only athlete missing on the board, Natila Mishviliani from Georgia, 120, a retake from the first round. 2 issues to correct. One, she was fighting against depth. It was borderline, and she failed to stand erect at lockout. Depth, once again from afar, looks borderline. She seems to stand erect.
Yeah, unfortunately, actually one more depth call this time round. So in a bit of a tricky situation heading into that third, and we'll have a look here in the replay. She's so quick in and out of that hole, which, you know, isn't so fast that she can pull the wool over the referee's eyes.
I think this time that blue is for the bit of down up at the beginning of her squat because she's standing erect, but yeah, depth is very questionable. So this might be why you do not open 15 kilos above your personal best. Moving on to a 5 kg jump, Susana Gasparovic, Croatia, 125.
This would land her just 2.5 below her personal best on squat.
Convincing second attempt. 3 white lights. Do you think she goes for a match PB or she's looking to try and improve it?
You know, it's hard to say because 5 kilos is usually a little bit smaller of a jump from first to second that we've seen. The 57, 7.5, probably the average. 10 is the higher end. So I think they might look to match it, but they might be going equal across the board.
Fair enough. It's talking about 7.5. So we've got Anna Bukalova from Czechia going for that exact jump. That's 132.5.
Now it moved very well. And 2 to 1, a good lift. That's where my slight hesitance came in. We'll see on the replay, Alex, the depth call that she got here on the side.
I mean, I can understand the call. It looks 50-50, but the jury is only going to overturn it if it looks egregious.
And they're certainly discussing it, but not unanimously. So it will remain a good lift.
From 132.5 to 140 kilos, Catherine Kilmartin, Ireland. Nice and controlled. And then she pushes back her knees under the bar and it gets speedier. Next up, the representative of Finland, Nelly Westerlund, 147.5. Looks like you know your powerlifting because, except the jump of 5 we've seen before, everyone's going for a 7.5.
Yeah, you start to pick up some of these patterns, and I'm sure we'll see actually some bigger jumps in the A group later, but tends to be the common jump we see here. A little bit tougher there.
Yeah, certainly more scrappy than the opener. To the 1, a good lift right from the front.
Yeah, cooling depth from the front there. It certainly was scrappier, but in terms of speed, it didn't actually slow down altogether too much. Just looked more challenging in that midsection.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised seeing a 2.5 being added. Natuta Jakupovic, Croatia, 147.5.
$10 kilos off her best here, and if my memory serves me correctly, which sometimes it does not, it was a bit of a tough opener.
It was.
But the second, much nicer.
To the one, good lift. We're seeing a few reds coming in.
And I'm wondering in this case if she maybe oversank her opener a little bit to, you know, compensate with some nerves, and maybe this one was easier because she cut the depth
Yeah,
a
it could
tad.
be. I'm struggling to see red based on that replay. Final second attempt. The Portuguese Beatriz Acevedo, 160. Ever so close to a personal best of 162.5.
And also seeing some very respectable numbers here in the B group already in the second round, so huge pool of talent here.
Yeah, 162.5 would be the 7th biggest nominated squat. So if she matches her personal best, she would have a squat that belongs in the A group. To the one, a good lift, one red.
Yeah, just from that far side, we'll have a look at that again in the replay. This is the side, of course, that she gets that white from. Looking very strong today, though.
Yeah, the thing is she going to refrain herself because of that red and only wants to match her personal best? Or is she still feeling confident if she's looking to at least 5?
She seems pretty confident in her own abilities. I think it depends what they're shooting for today in the B group, probably not for medals, so we'll have to wait and see.
Now a pivotal attempt for Natella's competition, 120, is third time the charm.
And the depth looked a little bit better to me there. Let's hope the blues got taken away as well.
Yes, a sigh of relief from Georgia. 3 white lights. This is what we would have wanted to see with that first squat.
And hey, technically, it's still a 15 kilo personal best on the platform, so
Yeah.
still walking away with a squat and a PB.
You can technically say you've had a good day. I mean, stats are stats.
Details, you know, silver linings.
Went 1 for 3, but PR by 100, so. Now Susana Gasparovic, Croatia, 130 kilos. So she's indeed going back to back with the jumps of 5. We're gonna have to wait for the lights for that one.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried this time around, and I think you were as well, that she cut depth because of maybe worrying a little bit about the weight. She did take the 5 kilo jump instead of that 2.5 we were wondering about, but if we watch the replay, you know, you can see that she just cuts it.
The thing that's heartbreaking is that when you look at the replay, she looked good for it. It's only the mentals. So 2 for 3, we move on to Anna Bukalova, 137.5. A jump of 5.
Very solid looking third attempt there for Anna.
Could have been a second, to be fair. 3 white lights.
Yeah, she looked extremely comfortable, and you know, the positive there, she's left room in the tank, energy to move forward into the next 6 attempts.
Yeah, especially when it's your first international, you don't want to be gassed out after squats. and being self-conscious of what you're going to do next.
Yeah, you want to come away from your first international with a good experience and some
Absolutely.
confidence.
Final attempt for the Irish, Catherine Kilmartin. 145, jump of 5. A grindier third, but very reasonable still. 3 white lights, a good lift. Catherine lifted as progressed. She's 2023. She started with the Western Europeans. In 2024, she went to Euros. 25, she went to Worlds. So she might go for a full season this year.
And it looks like she's on to progress as well.
Now Nelly Westerlund 150. She's adding 2.5 for a match PB of 150. Once again, we're gonna have to wait for the lights on that one because from afar it looks a bit poor, but maybe that's just to look from the front. 2-1, a good lift.
Yeah, we can see from a bit of a better angle here. Looking for that hip joint, that hip crease to go below the top of the knee joint. And it is tough as well with that darker part of the singlet to really see it. So it looks like the jury are going to work in favour of the lifter, which they should be doing.
Yeah, it looks slightly better from the side and you want to benefit the lifter. So the lift stands a match PB from the representative of Finland. Moving on to Tota Jakubovic, 152.5, that's a jump of 5.
Yeah, her second looked considerably more comfortable than her opener. She did pick up a red on the right-hand side on her second. So we'll see here how that translates with 5 extra kilos.
Yeah, they're staying quite under her personal best, so very well within reason. Strength, not an issue. Nor the standards, 2-1, a good lift.
Yeah, pretty much a copy and paste of her second attempt there in terms of how it looked and the lights that she picked up. I can see the justification for the red for sure, but I don't think it's so much that it should be played around with too much.
Yeah, discussions have ended, but they went for a bit longer than we expected.
Yeah, it was close. Like we said, we can see the justification for the red.
Now 165 final squat for the B group of 57s is a PB attempt for Beatriz Acevedo, Portugal. Once again, strength not an issue, but this time she definitely cut depth. No lifts.
Yeah, and you did question before, you know, was she going to go for the 2.5 or jump for the 5? And I think perhaps the 5 just got in her head a little bit, and it was marginal. Like, it was very, very close.
So unfortunately, no lift. She still stands strong at 160, the biggest squat of the B group.
Yes, of course, medals subject to change as we have some big squatters in the A group with 3 lifters, 180 and up.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to follow later on at 4 in the afternoon. Both A group 57s and 74s.
And speaking of 74s, we head immediately through to the 74 B group. And we can see the running order as it stands right here. And a similar story that we'll have with the 57s, medals subject to change later on this afternoon. But kicking us off from Portugal, Leonardo Cruz, 182.5 kilos.
white lights, a good lift. Convincing opener. Was looking for the lights. And our dearly beloved spotters pointing at the screen.
Yeah, I think right at the end of the day yesterday, before Antoine Garcia won, he stared at his name on the board the other side for quite a while before realizing the lights were on the other side.
Typical Antoine.
190 kilo for Belgium's Jason Magarat. Personal best of 225. Perhaps won't pace himself for that today. It seems like a pretty wide spread, but you know, we don't know how conservative this is of an opener for him.
I mean, he's much more experienced on the bench-only side. He's only went once at international in 2024 for the 3 movements. So I think playing it conservatively with that opener is smart. Lightning fast, super comfortable, 3 white lights. I'm expecting at least a jump of 12, maybe 15.
The bar is loaded on the platform from Latvia,
Marat Damlamayans from Latvia, coming out for 200 kilos, just 10 kilos below his best. And with 11 years of competitive experience, it's no mean feat to be opening so close to your personal best. We saw similar from Margit last night in Hungary. Many years in the game, yet continuing to progress.
Referee's not so happy with that squat. 2-to-1 double reds, lack of depth.
Yeah, let's have a look at that in the replay. And I wasn't sure if that was on the line or just above it, but they've certainly found their red light buttons. I feel like I could argue the case for that being overturned. The coaches decided not to go to the jury, and therefore the jury are deciding to leave it. What do you think?
I think they're still gonna bump up the attempt. They feel confident. At least that's what I would do.
Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria here, 202.5 kilos, handled by none other than Emil Krastev.
That's good company.
Yeah, absolutely. Safe hands to be in.
How about the lights for this first squat? 3 whites. Did look 50-50 from afar, but did look much better apparently closer up. I think he might have clipped his end when he went back in the rack. He's looking at his fingers. Might be seeing a bit of blood. Hopefully he can get strapped up for his next attempt. That's not pleasant at all.
No, absolutely not. Some definite horror stories I've heard. But it looks like he's okay. It looks like he came off more or less unscathed. Sean Frugia from Malta, 205 kilos.
Give a big round of applause for Sean. Let's go.
Blink and you miss it. 3 white lights, very fast opener.
Same way for Michael Bennett Diaz representing Belgium. Cameron Badalov is up next. The bar is loaded on the platform from Belgium. Michael Bennett Diaz.
Michael Bonetta Diaz from Belgium, 205 kilos.
Very first international for Michael.
Yeah, seeing some new faces here in the B groups. Pretty narrow squat stance as well from him.
Yeah, that's very unusual for the boys of that weight class, but 3 white lights, a good lift. And we've got the 2 sides of Belgium colliding. We have 274s in Belgium, but they are not from the same part of Belgium.
Wow. Maybe a little internal competition there.
Absolutely.
Is he from the French side or?
The others from the French
I
side.
was going to say, because with that style squat, it could have been.
It very much could have been,
been.
yeah.
We now have Kamran Badalov from Azerbaijan, 210 kilos. Don't get many athletes from Azerbaijan, which is very cool to see. Very upright looking squat there from the Azerbaijan athlete. 3 white lights, a good lift.
Yeah, this is not a style of squatting we see often, but seems to be working in his favor.
Tomasz Prijanovic from Slovenia, 217.5 kilos. Another one of the very few athletes with a decade of competitive experience. Lovely controlled squat there from Tomasz.
But still a bit segmented on the way up. It's almost as if he tilts. It's yeah. I want to see that again.
Yeah, we both just leant into the replay screen. I suppose he has to, being that leant over, get back up into an erect position to get those.
Yeah, he has a
white
pretty short femurs, pretty long torso, makes for a sticking point where he needs to fight that tilt.
And that concludes the opening round with Uber Damlamayans from Latvia getting in opening attempt. Has another attempt here as we move through to the second, hoping we don't see a replay of the ladies where we wait until the final attempt. Cruz 192.5.
Still looking solid with that jump of 10. 3 white lights. And so far we haven't seen issues with the thumb positioning nor the bar positioning in terms of new rules and stuff. So lifters have adapted.
Jason Magadat from Belgium, 200 kilos. 10 kilo jump from his opening attempt.
Slightly clips the rack on the way out. Not the most comfortable thing to do, but does not bother him whatsoever. 3 white lights. Solid lifting. But once again, I was expecting a bigger jump, to be honest.
I suppose it also depends on how much of a grind they have in them and how they practice jumps in training. Now Murat Damlamayans from Latvia just missed that opening attempt. Looking to pick it up here in a second.
I must say, it is a surprise that he's just retaking the weight. So maybe not feeling that confident. That looks deeper.
Yeah, definitely looks better. And the thing is, you would much rather maybe stay safe and get on the board. We've seen so many times where lifters have gone, well, you know, the weight's easy enough, and they've gone up. Similar mistakes happened, and they've either kept it the same or gone up again, and it's been a really sticky situation. So I think, you know, in the B group, he's not pushing for anything. There's nothing to lose by retaking.
You're right.
Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria, 12.5 kilo jump to 215.
Fingers looking good.
unfortunately just not deep enough. We'll have a look again in the replay, although he seems pretty calm despite that coming off.
The thing is, when your coach is not even tempted to go up to the jury, is that he knows it was too high.
Michael Burnett Diaz from Belgium, 215 kilos, a 10-kilo jump.
To the one, he good lift, one right from the front, surely because of that stance.
Yeah, it's a much more difficult position to tell depth from the centre referee. And I can see exactly where they were coming from. It did look borderline, a little bit questionable. There was a discussion at the jury, but they're happy to keep it. 222.5 kilos for Sean Ferrugia from Malta. Lifting here on home soil.
Sizable jump of 17 and a half, but he had arguably the fastest opener.
Stays very compact and tidy with the squat.
And another 2-to-1.
Much wider stance this time though to get that. He looks a little bit confused by the red light.
Excuse us, mister, you have massive quads, it looks poor from the front. It's gonna happen.
Curse of the game. Kamran Badalov from Azerbaijan taking a 15-kilo jump here to 225. Still 15 kilos off his best, so let's see if they're looking to do 2 big jumps or just land below his best squat here. I imagine it was quite a bit of travel from Azerbaijan to get here. Very, very good squat. 3 white light is a good lift.
Yeah, very solid. We know that an upright squat can get grindy, but it's still difficult for me to imagine that there's another 15 in there.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you can pick up on certain countries' coaching techniques, but I don't think I've seen enough Azerbaijan athletes to be able to see that. You know, it'll be interesting. It is the type of squat style we do see big jumps on. Tomasz Prijonovic from Slovenia, 230 kilos, a 12.5-kilo jump. And our final second attempt in this round.
Yeah, I want to pay close attention to that technique. Same control on the way down. And not much of a tilt this time. Looks much better. 3 white lights.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't his usual technique on that opener. Maybe a little bit of nerves. I was going to say it looked a little less segmented. But a nice squat and a good lift. Everybody now on the board, and just a quick look ahead. It did look like Badalov, although not taking another 15-kilo jump, looked to take a 12.5-kilo jump to his third. So still pretty sizable. Moving into that third round, which we will be beginning with Leonardo Cruz.
Yeah, not sure who's going to be walking away with the biggest squat of that group.
Couple contenders for it for sure. 202.5 on the bar for Cruz from Portugal.
A nice grind for a PB of 7.5, 3 white light, he gets it.
Yeah, and looks pretty much how you'd want a textbook third to look. You don't want to leave loads of kilos there, but you don't want to grind that empties the tank so dramatically that you're zapped for the rest of the day. Jason Magret from Belgium, 207.5, a 7.5-kilo jump.
207.5 kilos off the bar for Jason Magera. Come on, Jason. Come on, Belgium.
Yeah, surely not feeling the best today because at that body weight he squatted 220 in the past. But 207.5 it is.
Good fight. And 3 white lights.
3 white lights. 3 for 3 in the squat, some good momentum to continue on with this competition.
For Marat, representing Latvia. Miroslav Milanov is up next. The bar is loaded. The platform from Latvia. Marat,
Now on the board, safe and sound, Maurats Damlamayans from Latvia, 210 kilos to match his personal best. And I imagine the plan coming in was to surpass that, but it's so important to take what you have on the day in the circumstances and not try and push forward with the plan.
In terms of depth, it looks like he's second. 3 white lights, he matched PB. Nicely done.
I definitely think going for the plan second, or I imagine the plan second, seemed like the right decision to me.
Yeah, I reckon he had 215 on the day.
Miroslav Milanov, representing Bulgaria. Final attempt from Miroslav.
Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria, choosing to go up anyway here to 220, which I think is what you anticipated they might choose to do. Just got depth calls here, but he seemed very calm coming off of the platform after that.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Emil Krastev looking at you in the eyes, telling you, I trust you with 220, you don't want to miss that. Come on, sink it.
Now, I think it was around about the same, hopefully a little bit deeper.
I would say he looks a bit asymmetrical on the way down.
Yeah, and now a little less calm coming off the platform. We'll have a look at that again in the replay. Jury will as well. It's the curse of kind of the black singlet and the spotter behind you wearing black shorts. It really takes away and absorbs all the light. But Emil, coach Bulgaria, going, but sent back instantly by the looks of it. Michael Burnett Diaz from Belgium, 225. There's a big grind, wow, and I do wonder if it would have been a little bit high anyway. It's a really difficult position to tell from, but it just wasn't there in terms of strength on the day.
I don't think it was high.
No,
from the side you can clearly see that it was depth, but they decided to send it with a 10 kilo jump, just wasn't there. Maybe 7.5 was there, but with the ifs you can redo the whole world. So
yeah, hindsight is 2020, and unfortunately we do not have that luxury. A lot of noise for hometown athlete Sean Ferrugia from here in Malta, 230 on the bar.
the noise works in his favor. However, lack of depth, according to our chief ref and the run inside ref, so no lift.
And the coach goes straight to the jury, which in this circumstance, I don't see why you wouldn't, you know. I think they send him away instantly, but it's certainly worth a shot. You'd rather be sent away than not try.
I mean, consistent refereeing from the jury.
Yeah. Kamran Badalov from Azerbaijan, and I did suspect that they would take another big jump. Whether that pays off in their favor is another question we'll find out. It's certainly the style of squat you expect to see bigger jumps on. You see countries like Chinese Taipei often with this style squat. So let's see if it pays off. Not quite 15, but 12.5, still extremely sizable, especially from second to third. No, but just a bit overzealous, I think, there with the jump.
Yeah, I suspected it was going to be hard anyways. It does not pass. Maybe 7.5, but yeah, That's what was ambitious.
Yeah. Listen, I suspected a big jump. I wasn't sure, like I said, if it was the right choice, but I think it also is one of those squat styles that can really quickly go in or not in your favor.
Yeah, you did not expect a good lift, you suspected the jump.
Tomas Prijanovic from Slovenia, 240 for the final squat of this morning's session, a 10 kilo jump for a 7.5 kilo personal best. The second certainly looked a little bit more comfortable. Let's see if he's in the groove of it now. Great effort from Tomas.
He really fights that sticking point and it's going to be rewarded. 3 white lights, a good lift. Maybe a squat that could give him a top 8 in the squat event.
Absolutely. I mean, look, it's a great squat. He got every single kilogram out of his squat that he could have today. It's a really good job to him. And we can see the running order, the results of the squats as it stands currently. Obviously subject to change as the A group come through later, but for now we're going to head into a 10-minute break prior to the bench press event, so we will catch you then.
just like that, the break between squat and bench is over. We're back live from St. Julian's, Malta, for the 2026 European Open Classic Powerlifting Championships presented by Maniac Fitness. This is still the B group of 57s and 74s. Quick recap, the biggest squat in the B group of 57s belongs to Beatriz Acevedo from Portugal, 160. She was so close to that 165 but lacked a bit of depth. We're going to be starting off the bench press openers ranging from 55 to 85 kilos. First lifter out, Natela Meshveliani, 55, hoping for a different outcome compared to her squat, where she only scored her final attempt. She's opening again above her personal best. 55 is 2.5 above her PB.
Yeah, hoping for a smoother start here on the bench press.
It's going to be 3 white lights, no suspense, which is good.
The bar is loaded on the platform from Croatia, Susana Gasparovic.
Next up, Susana Gasparovic, 60 kilos, she squatted 125. She's taking a bit of time to come out, maybe adjusting her wrist wraps. There's rules to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. The only bit of kit you're allowed to adjust on the platform is your belt, so wrist wrap, knee sleeves, all of that should be done before you get past the technical officer. A little tough towards that lockout.
But strong commands given by our chief ref. Love that, especially on bench press with 3 commands being start, press, and rack. You want them to be loud and clear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think her squat opener was also a little bit tough, so I think just maybe shaking off some nerves.
She needs to get a good feel for that platform, the rack, the pad, and stuff. That second attempt's gonna be bad. I'm manifesting. 70 kilos for Anna Bukalova, Czechia.
70 kilos on the bar for Anna Bukalova.
Yeah, much smoother than the previous one. 3 white lights, a good lift. Smooth enough, but I don't think I would expect a jump in 5. Probably too risky. I'd say go for back-to-back 2.5s and call it a day.
The bar is loaded on the platform from Ireland, Catherine.
Now the red plates are on. Catherine Kilmartin, Ireland, 75.
Yeah, 7.5 kilos below her personal best, so should go well, perhaps pacing for a personal best here.
$75 kilos on the bar for Catherine Kilmartin.
Half the time gone, but just needs to get that start command and hope there's no re-rack call from the centre referee. Plenty of time.
A bit asymmetrical, but still looking easy. 3 white lights.
Yeah, good lift on the board. I think in an ideal world in bench press you want to get out really as soon as your minute starts because it's the most technical to set up, and if you have to re-rack, we've seen people time out.
Next up, the Portuguese, Beatriz Acevedo, 82.5. 3 more openers to go.
The bar is loaded on the platform from Portugal, Beatriz Acevedo. Come on, Beatriz, from Portugal. 2.5 kilos on the bar from Beatriz.
And that's better use of the minute, walking out as soon as you can, and then taking a few seconds to explain in the ideal world how you would love that handoff to be, because it is a key aspect of the lift for some lifters and it can throw you off badly. Nice and controlled soft touch, lovely opener, 3 white lights, no problems. The last 2 openers are at 85, first one being for the finish at Nelly Westerland.
Yeah, some big opening attempts here in the B group, as it was for the squats as well. Just a reminder, the medals will jump around, but we've got the A group coming through later who are likely, in most cases, to swing those podium spots.
Yeah, we have multiple benches in the 100s. Three white lights, a good lift. Yeah, I would say that's optimized elbow depth on the left side. You want to be paying attention to that. But maybe one of those lifters that switch because of the new rules. We're not seeing a lot of sinks, and I can understand why. Final opener, Tota Jakupovic, 85.
Pretty sturdy looking opening attempt there for Tota.
The heaviest one is the most comfortable one. Everyone's on the board at the end of the first round.
I suppose that often is the case because usually it is a lifter's best lift, or there's something they're proficient at, so usually you do see that.
So we're going to see some 2.5s and some 5s. Starting off with the 5 from 55 to 60 for Natela Mishveliani, Georgia. This one's going to be a no lift. You could say it's a surprise, but jumping 5 is jumping 10% on a 55 bench.
Yeah, and it's a shame to see, obviously, with how her squat session went, for them to make that sort of loading error from the coaching team. So hopefully it's something that can be fixed up, but if that's a strength issue, which a lot of the time, it seems to be, then she's not in a good position in terms of attempts made.
Now to Susana Gasparovic, also jumping 5 from 60 to 65. This would match her personal best. Oh, too sticky at lockout. This one's not going to go through. No lift.
Yeah, and very similar situation. Let's have a look at that again in the replay. It just slows down in that mid portion, which usually is a strength issue. And I'm hoping that pattern doesn't continue for the remaining 5 lifters.
And Navukalova is only going for 2.5, but this is also a match personal best.
A little bit sticky, but...
Oh yeah, another sticky lockout, but this one goes through. Finally an attempt made in the second round. But nowhere else to go than another 2.5. But guess what? That next attempt is a jump of 5. From 75 to 80 kilos. In terms of percentage, it looks different than a jump of 5 on a 55, but still possibly trouble for Catherine Kilmartin, 80 kilos.
4 lifters remaining in this round.
She manages the attempt. 3 white lights, a good lift. Now Nelly Westerlund going from 85 to 87.5. We're moving quick in these bench press attempts.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just had a quick look at the time and it's certainly going through quickly.
I felt like we saw her just 2 attempts ago. White lights, a good lift. Once again, no troubles with elbow depth. Looking optimized. Maybe even a bit better than our opener.
Perhaps getting a feel for the pad and for the bench itself.
A jump of 5 for Beatriz Acevedo, Portugal, looking to match her personal best of 87.5. Ooh, a bit too vertical off the chest, but she manages to recover the bar path. Pretty impressive stuff. 3 white lights, a good lift.
Yeah, really, really strong, and she's going to put together pretty mean subtotal. I think if her deadlift was a little bit heavier, she could have even potentially have snuck into the A group.
Yeah, she's more of a subtotal specialist as of right now. But still relatively new to the sport.
Yeah, still in her 20s, so plenty of time to improve.
Tuta Jakubovic, 90 kilos, a jump of 5. But yeah, with lifters like Plundeckers or Journeys Kangamu on the men's side, there's hope for athletes that start the sport in their 20s. Still looking comfortable with 90 kilos, 3 white lights, a good lift. This was a match personal best. I feel like there's wiggle room for maybe 5, 2.5 would be, of course, the sensible decision.
Yeah, I mean, watching that back, I think 2.5 seems sensible. It slowed down, the arms locked out one at a time, but you know, we don't know the particular lifter. I think with the amount of powerlifting I've seen, however, 2.5 seems correct.
Have you seen a lot of powerlifting, Emilia?
I dabble. I dabble in powerlifting.
A retake from the second round for Natila Mishviliani, 60 kilos.
It seemed like a strength issue on the second, and I'm really hoping that isn't the case.
So once again, it's going to be a 1 for 3, but still a new personal best. So she scored a personal best of 15 in the squat, personal best of 2.5.
You can come away from it and say, hey, I went 2 for 6, or you can come away and said, I PB'd everything.
Yeah.
And you know, both are true.
I mean, so far she has a PB subtotal of 17.5. If you
So,
take that stat alone, that's solid.
So she should still come away pretty impressed with her progress.
Yes.
And know that she's got plenty more to come.
Another retake of the second round, Susana Gasparovic, 65. Nice and controlled. Strength. Almost there. Oh, the wrist rolls. And that sticking point just too strong on the day.
Yeah, and you know that would have felt like a lifetime she was pushing through that. Anybody who benches themselves would do a slight grind and bench and go, oh, that was a huge grind, and watch back the video and it was maybe a second, so that would have felt...
These are the type of benches. A lifetime of a press and it looks like 2 seconds on the video. Anna Bukalova going back to back with the 2.5s, 75, looking to improve our PB bench.
Great effort from Anna, and for a relatively new lifter, it takes a lot of experience to grind like that. But Alex,
I think she played the game and she lost this time. She tried to meet the press command, and it didn't work out in her favor.
It's a risky game doing that, and sometimes, like you said, it does work out, but unfortunately not this time for Anna.
And sometimes your survival instincts kicked in at the bottom. You can't resist it.
Yeah, the same reason why some people cut depth on squat when it's a little heavier.
Absolutely. Final attempt for Catherine Kim-Martin, 82.5, jump of 2.5. This one's to match her PB.
Team Ireland with some great attempt selection so far. Head coach Jack Thornton there, looking over.
Not the softest touch possible, but a strong push.
Wow, that is so impressive.
Yeah, that was just a good display of strength there.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to get any blues, you know, it went up, it stopped, it went up unevenly, but look at this, left, completely unlocked, right.
Yeah, no dips. Of course, deserving all whites.
That's
so
great.
a matched PP. And 3 more bench presses to go before we move straight into the 74s. Got 2 attempts at 90 lined up. First one being for Nelly Westerlund and then Beatriz Acevedo.
Beautiful third attempt there from Westerlund.
But this time, 1 red full elbow depth. It seemed to me that she arched a bit more. Maybe, once again, those survival instinct kicking in for the third. But 2-1 is a good lift. It doesn't look egregious.
No, we're looking for the elbow joint to be in line with the middle of the shoulder. They are definitely discussing it, but they seem happy with the decision.
So same final attempt for the Portuguese Beatriz Acevedo, jump of 2.5 for that same amount of a personal best. Can she get it this time, unlike what happened in the squat event? She keeps on pushing. And she gets it this time. 3 white lights, 3 for 3 in the bench press event. 5 for 6 so far in the competition. She's forecasted over the 400s already. And final attempt for the 57Bs in the bench press event. 92.5 for the biggest bench of the group. Tuta Jakupovic, the Croatian, going for a personal best. It's a grinder, but unfortunately it doesn't go through. And we could have thought that it was there 100%, but 2.5 on the bench can make a work of the difference. And you can see it here in action. So So it's the Portuguese Beatriz Acevedo that walks away with the biggest bench press of the B group with 90 kilos. Probably a top 7, top 8 bench.
Yeah, and we head straight through now to the 74 kilo B group. Kicking us off with 122.5 on the bar, Leonardo Cruz from Portugal.
122 kilos on the bar. For Leonardo, Cameron Badalov is up next.
Comfortable looking open, it is a good lift. Cameron Badalov from Azerbaijan opening a 130 with a personal best of 160 kilos, a huge bench press there. Just missed out on that third squat after taking a 12.5 kilo jump from second to third. Let's see how the jumps here on bench press go for him.
Yeah, because with a PB of 160 and opening at 130, it begs the question, what kind of jump is he going to take?
Yeah, it's, how is his prep? Is he injured or is it very conservative? There are a lot of questions that should be answered now.
Oh, very strong sticking point. A bit of down up signal by the two side referees. I think there's a chance that bench gets overturned to a good lift because when the chief refs gives whites for down up, it's a good. Yeah, I think it paused. I don't think it dipped.
Yeah, the jury are certainly discussing it. And it looks like they're overturning it to a good lift, so you're absolutely right there. That's a good lift for Badalov.
Maybe I haven't seen as much as you, but I've seen a few powerlifting meets.
You too dabble. Murat Damlamayans from Latvia, 137.5.
It took a bit of time for him to receive that star command, maybe for lack of extension in the elbows, but in the end, 3 white lights.
Yeah, a bit heavy on the touch as well, so again, took a second to get the press command. You get the press command when the centre referee is happy that the bar is stationary on your chest. Sean Frugia from Malta, 145, and I had a suspicion and just checked in the break that his wife, in fact, competed yesterday.
Ooh.
So it's a family affair here, Malta.
Great control on the way down.
Really aesthetic bench.
And a strong one too, 3 white lights.
The bar is loaded on the platform from Bulgaria, Milano. 152.5 kilos on the bar for Miroslav.
Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria, 152.5. Good start to bench press by the looks of it, and it is 3 white lights, and hoping to pick up some ground again after how the squat session went for him.
Yeah, he missed out on 2 squats for depth. Looked a bit disappointed, but it seems to be regaining some momentum. Very explosive off the chest, looking good in the bench press event.
155 kilos loaded for the next 2 athletes, the first of which Tomasz Prionovic from Slovenia. 10.5 kilos below his personal best.
Three white lights, a good lift.
Yeah, I mean, based on his squat and what I've seen of his bench so far, very technically efficient lifter.
Big arch on Michael. But sufficient elbow depth. 3 white lights. Good lift. And he opens his elbows just enough.
The bar is loaded on the platform.
Jason Magra from Belgium, 180 kilos. Final opener of this round of 74s.
Three white lights in. He creates somewhat of a gap between him and the opposition, the other benchers. That opener of 180 surely could already be the biggest bench of the group.
Yeah, absolutely, and for sure has an outside chance of getting bench press cold, even with the A group to come later, which is always an exciting feat to see.
Yeah, he has a strong shot at it. I know some lifters like Sam or Adel who have improved on their bench press, but are they worthy of 190? I'm not sure.
Leonardo Cruz, 127.5, match personal best. He's got a quick press command there.
3 white lights, but when you stabilize that quickly, when you're soft touching, when you're efficient, it's worthy of a quick press command.
The bar is loaded. From Azerbaijan, Badalo.
Cameron Badalov from Azerbaijan taking a 10 kilo jump here to 140.
Second attempt for Cameron, 140 kilos on the bar.
And that same sticking point, I think he clipped the rack on the right.
Yeah.
No lift. Yeah, he's looking at the rack on that right side.
Lucky he gets that opening attempt in. It's also quite a narrow grip as well. So that's exactly where you expect to see the slowdown come in. But I mean, he clips the rack, but I'm not sure if that was the major issue that we had.
I don't know, but next time I want to see him set enough further out from the rack, so at least he gets a chance.
Latvia's Murat Stamlamayans, 145, a 7.5 kilo jump.
To the 1, a good lift. I can see a lot of momentum coming from the leg drive. So this is probably why the yellow is coming in. Are we going to see some sort of glute lifting off the bench?
You can already somewhat see the light there, and you see the jury already discussing it. But it looks like it's to remain a good lift. Perhaps they think that the contact remained. 5 kilo jump here for Malta's Sean Ferrugia. 150 kilos on the bar.
Once again, great display of strength and technique. To the 1, a good lift. That blue probably for soft elbows.
Let's have a look again from the front angle on the replay. I didn't see any up-down movement, so imagine that what it could have been for, maybe that right elbow.
Maybe it was at the start, because if both side referees put their arm down, chief referee is in the obligation to give the command, but maybe he disagreed with the starting position.
Tomasz Prijanovic from Slovenia, 160 on the bar, 5 kilo jump.
Oh, lots of wrist movements on that second attempt. Not as efficient as his opener. Still 3 white lights. Look at the replay and look at the left wrist. I think that's too much movement for comfort.
Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria, 162.5. Opting for a 10 kilo jump here on his second attempt.
I'd say it's wobbly at the bottom. This is still looking strong. 3 white lights. Emil is still looking poised, and he's going to be coaching in the A flight later on too. He's coaching the first athlete nominated, Christos Constantinou from Cyprus.
Busy day. Michael Benet-Diaz from Belgium, 162.5. 7.5 kilo jump from his opener. 7.5 kilos off his personal best. Very snappy there at the lockout for Michael. And 2-1, a good lift with just a elbow depth call there from the center referee. Let's have a look at that here in the replay.
Yeah, I would think his elbows are less open than they were last time around on the platform. Does look 50-50 though.
Yeah, there's certainly discussion at the jury table, and they have in fact overruled that to a no lift for Benet-Diaz.
So it was 51-49, not 50-50.
Jason Magarat from Belgium, our final second attempt with 190 kilos, a 10 kilo jump, and if this goes well, as we said before, certainly in with a good shot to get that bench press gold, even with the A group to follow later.
But that top end for him is nominated with 190.5. This could either be a strong shot at the gold medal or maybe losing out on the podium. Yeah, it was not gonna fail that one. 2-1, a good lift, but another red flag for lack of elbow depth.
Yeah, very patient off the chest there, but we've just seen the jury moments ago overturn a lift for elbow depth.
Do you think is that threat of a jury intervention?
I think the slight difference here is that he was set up a little bit more wonky rather than his elbow being higher, which, you know, it's a really fine line, and I think that's what I can see the jury discussing now, and it looks like it's going to remain a good lift with 190.
And our chief ref has so much things to look at. So when in doubt, leave it up to the jury, to the one, the lift stands, we move on.
Leonardo Cruz for his third and final attempt, 132.5 kilos for a 5 kilo personal best. Just a little bit too much today, that 5 kilo jump.
So I can understand why he went forward, but just not there on the day. Was that a dip after the press command? I think it was. How would you judge that, Amelia? Yeah, I think that's what was signaled there.
Yeah, and
Jury's
unfortunately,
overruled.
Badlov has been overruled to a no lift, which is such a shame because he did a great job to come back from it on his second, but just not there for him today.
But it's a rule that was almost forgotten in the past few years, and I'm glad to see it being enforced now because it's written, it's supposed to be enforced.
Murat Damlamayans from Latvia, 147.5, a 2.5 kilo jump. Really strong effort there from Damlamayans, and 2-1. Good lift. Still getting that yellow from the side referee, which let's hope it wasn't any more lifting than it was last time. He got away with it, with the glutes staying intact with the bench. But it looks a little bit more of a jump this time.
Yeah, this time it's more the glutes leaving the bench rather than just contracting in.
And the jury has, in fact, overruled that instantly, unfortunately. So we're yet to see a successful third bench. Let's see if Sean Ferrugia from Malta with this 155 can change course for this group of 74s. He's a lovely bencher, manages, it seems, to lock out his elbows.
Yeah, he found the right number on the day. 3 white lights, no trouble with elbows. Solid 3 for 3 in the bench press event, and finally successful attempt in the third round.
4 lifters remaining in this round. The bar is loaded.
Tomasz Prijanovic from Slovenia, 162.5. Just a 2.5 kilo jump here, which is well worth utilizing. He's executed very, very well so far today.
Yeah, 162. Supposedly within his wheelhouse. Let's see it in action. I want to look at those wrists. Can he maintain proper positioning? That wrist rolls in the transition. Cannot push through. No lift.
Yeah, but he got everything he could have out of his bench press, and I think if he was to get it, it'd be a similar story to his squat. A huge grind for that third.
The thing is, it's disappointing because in the past he benched 165, but it was not there on the day. he took Holly Kudev.
Michael Benet-Diaz from Belgium looking to retake 162.5 kilos here on his third attempt.
Yeah. Overturned because of a lack of elbow depth last time around. Does that look any different from afar?
Yeah, I think there we go. 3 white lights. I can say, yeah, it looks a little bit better to me. We'll have a look there at the replay if that was the case. And get a bit of a better angle here. I'd say it's pretty similar actually, but centre referee seemed much happier with it, and that's what counts. Our penultimate bench here, we have Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria, 167.5, a 5 kilo jump.
Miroslav, a very strong bencher as a 74, but can you believe that there's a 30 kg gap in between the final 2 benches? That's insane. Looking strong, 3 white lights, and that subtotal could have looked very different had he squatted a little deeper.
Yeah. Hopefully he can just take that momentum forward into his deadlifts now. And our final bench, as you alluded to before, much higher than not just the rest of the B group, but actually is going to be significantly higher than a lot of the A group as well. And if he's to get this, I do think it'll be hard to take that bench press gold off of him, even with the A group lifters later. 197.5 kilos for Jason for a junior world record attempt. And that is exactly why it'll be hard to grab that gold off him should he get this. 197.5 on the bar, the current world junior record of 195.5. No, it just doesn't move off of the chest there. 190 is what he's left with, and still gives him a really good shot of a podium and maybe a bench press gold overall. But I think in mind what he had today was that world junior record.
Yeah, most likely. But maybe he felt that 190 was sufficient for gold.
And it still might be. We'll have to wait and see as we move through to the deadlifts and have the A groups this afternoon at 4 p.m. local time. But for now, we head into a 10-minute break prior to the B group deadlifts. We will catch you there.
And just like that, we are back in action live from St. Julian's, Malta for the 2026 European Open Classic Powerlifting Championships presented by Maniac Fitness. Still in the 57s and 74Bs. We've witnessed an attempt at a world junior record in the bench press event of the 74s. Unfortunately, a missed attempt, but ever so close to making history. Now onto the deadlift event, openers ranging from 135 to 190 for the 57Bs. 190 is a very solid opener in a B group of 57s. First athletes out on the platform will be Susana Gasparovic, 135. Might be misloaded as of right now on the right side. Okay, they're switching things up, which is good. I think it was an issue with the display over there. They have their own screen.
Yeah, not looking to jump above her max on her opening attempt. It's not.
Yes, just load my subtotal on the deadlift. That's fine. There we go, bars loaded for Susanna.
Susana Gasparovic. Westerblom is up next.
Three white lights, she's on the board, but she doesn't seem to be too satisfied with her performance as of right now.
Job's not done, I guess. 2 lifts left to go, but I mean, both her openers so far have looked a little bit tough, so I don't think that's saying much or too telling for how much she has left in the tank.
Nelly Westerlund, Finland, 150. PB deadlift of 160, could be one jump away. Three white lights, strong opener. Same opening intent for Natella Mishveliani, 150. Surprisingly, she's not opening above her personal best.
No, it looks like she's actually changed her opener, so maybe she's moved it down from around about there. Maybe she's moved it up.
As of right now, she's 2 for 6, but a plus 17.5 PB subtotal. And she secures her opener, 3 white lights. That's 325 in total. So this already a good personal best, 12.5 PB total, with 2 more deadlifts to go. Now the opener for Beatriz Acevedo, 152.5. Like you've mentioned earlier, deadlift not a strong suit yet, but only 3 years of competitive experience, and has improved on both squats and dead and bench. Relatively smooth opener.
Yeah, very strong looking opener there for Beatrice. She takes very little preparation time. She grabs the bar. As soon as she's in position, she pulls.
I mean, that's a conventional. Gotta grip it and rip it. Now the Czech, Anna Bukalova, 155.
Three white lights, that is a good lift.
The bar is loaded on the platform from
I'm going to talk about the resurgence of conventionals in the smaller weight classes for women's in my next book. It's insane. You go back 3 years ago, every woman was lifting sumo in these weight classes. Now, I would say it's a majority of conventionals.
Yeah, definitely a bigger mix now than we once had.
And 162.5 for Tatalia Kupovic. Sumo this time. 3 white lights. And now the ultimate opener, one that could surely compete with the A group, Catherine Kilmartin, 190. PB deadlift of 210. She has a shot at a deadlift podium if someone misses in the A group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if she's improved.
Yeah, we've got some big pullers in the A group, I think, for above 200 kilos. But by the looks of it, so is Catherine. So definitely with an outside shot.
Not in your typical sumo fashion, but 3 white lights.
Seems to work well for her with a personal best of 210 kilos in the 57s.
I'm just questioning her balance. Hopefully she's a bit more planted with more weight. But everyone's on the board. Everyone's going to have a total in the B group of the 57s. We'll move it straight into the second round. Attempts ranging from 140 kilos to 202.5 already. And at 140, jump of 5 is for Susana Gasparovic. See, now I can understand why she was not so happy about her performance. She seems to be gassed out with that second attempt, and it's not going to pass. Double blues.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Luckily, we do have that opener on the board. We did say the opener looked a little bit tough, but it was hard to gauge because, you know, she's been a bit of a slow lifter all day, slow and steady.
So I think that blue light was supporting on the thighs. It was slight, but I think it was there. Now 157.5, jump of 7.5 for Lady Westerlund, Finland. That would give her 397.5, 5 kgs shy of her PB total.
Taking her time to get completely set up there, similar to her opener. A bit slower towards the lockout, but still a very nice looking sumo deadlift.
I mean, she's really sat down at the start of a sumo. When the ball leaves the ground, it goes super quickly onto her thighs, and she has to fight it against her thighs, which makes for that sticking point. Very hard to gauge once again what she's going to be able to load up for the third. Now Natila Mishviliani, 160, jump of 10. So PB of 5 in the deadlift event, and another improvement on her total. That's very sticky above the knees. She locks it out. But how is this one going to be judged? Yeah, 3 per blues for supporting on the thighs.
Yeah, let's have a look at that again and see what you're talking about there. So it just seems to hop up her legs a little bit there. And And it's really unfortunate. You know, we were hoping for a little bit of a better time during deadlift for her.
So it's looking like a PB squat, bench and total, but maybe not a PB deadlift.
Hopefully she can come back and clean that up a little bit, but it will be tough.
Some more talk, some more baby powder. Now 165, also a jump of 10. This one's for Anna Bukalova from Czechia.
Just 5 kilos of her personal best here.
Three white lights, a good lift. I think this is as close as it's gonna get before you get a blue light.
Yeah, it's definitely a fine line.
Beatriz Acevedo going from 152.5 to 167.5. Isn't that a surprise to you?
It's a pretty sizable jump, 15 kilos here. But wow.
What do we know?
Yeah, I mean, clearly the opener was pretty conservative. It's probably jumps she's used to in training, and her personal best is in the 170s.
Bars are loaded at 172.5 for Tuta Jakubovic, Croatia.
Getting very close to her personal best here of 175. Solid looking second attempt there, and I see a new personal best in her future.
Final attempt of the second round, a massive one. Jump of 12.5 to make it 202.5 for Catherine Kilmartin, the Irish, looking super strong in the deadlift event.
Yeah, personal best, like we said, of 210 kilos. If she looks to match it or surpass it, like you said, she's certainly in with an outside shot of a medal on deadlift potentially, but there are a good handful of 57s who are in that 200 plus area.
Yeah, we have 204, 210, 212 and 217. Let's see how that 202.5 looks, because we know that these 57s are gonna have to battle it out against each other later on. She's shooting in the dark, fighting against herself. Second attempt at 202.5. Still looking convincing. 3 white lights. I'm not sure it's convincing enough to load a personal best, but maybe matching it.
I'm just going to watch that again before making my choice. Yeah, I think matching it looks like a sensible decision, or just pushing it up as much as they can that they think they can successfully achieve for that shot of a deadlift medal.
Yeah, I would say either 207.5 or 210, and it's going to be 210 by the looks of it. But keep in mind that those final deadlifts can be changed twice, and until our chief ref says that the bar is loaded. Susana Kasparovic opening the third round of deadlifts with a retake of the second round. She missed 140 kilos because of supporting on the thighs. Difficult thing to correct when you run out of steam. Does she have the answers for that? It looks just about the same from far, but difficult to judge with that distance. that's supporting. No, it's not. 3 white lights. Great recovery. 325 total. The other retake from the second round, Natila Meshviliani, the Georgian, 160. She's hit a PB in every event so far. Surely it is doable in the deadlift event too. She's already improved her total by 12.5.
Yeah, just needs to avoid those blue lights again here. It was pretty scrappy on the second attempt, and like we said, she can clean it up. She could be in a good position.
I mean, if Susanna did it with the same issue, surely she can.
It looks slightly less scrappy than the second, and hopefully it's enough.
To the one, a good lift. One blue also subject to a jury review and maybe intervention. How does that look on the replay, Amelia?
I can see that's where the blue probably came in, but is it enough to get overturned? Jury seem happy to keep it as a good lift, which means she manages to now pick up a personal best in deadlift as well.
So huge a PB total of 22.5 and a PB deadlift of 5. Now Nelly Westerlund, Finland, 162.5, jump of 5 for a PB deadlift and a matched PB total.
That's a lovely final attempt there from Westerlund.
Yeah, I think that would be for downwards movements. Once the bar reaches the thighs, I think it slightly dips down. How does that look?
It's that slow lockout she's had since the beginning, really, and it's minuscule. The Finnish coach does go over, but I believe discussion is still going on. I did see one juror shake his head, but yeah, it's going to remain a no lift by the looks of it.
I mean, the Finnish coach seems pretty chill with it. It's just like, yeah, I could see it too, but might as well attempt it. Now, Anna Bukelova, Czechia, 172.5. Pretty sizable jump of 7.5 from the third to the third. That'll be a personal best of 2.5 and 382.5 in total.
Shaky towards lockout, but I don't think there's any sort of breakdown with it.
It's shaky, but it's not judged as supporting on the thighs. Nicely done. 3 white lights in the PB deadlift. And talking about PB deadlifts, Beatriz Acevedo is looking to try and match hers. 175, the 3 red plates that would give a 425 in total. Her personal best total of 7.5 is at stake here.
It is tough, but she gets it above the knees and is rewarded with that snappy lockout that we've seen from her in her previous 2 lifts.
Yeah, super hard until it reaches the knees and then super fast. 425, nice PB total. Solid day. Could have been even bigger had she squatted a little deeper, but that's experience for the future. 177.5 for Tuta Jakobovic. A jump of 5 for a PB of 2.5 in the deadlift event. 420 total.
Strong finish there for Tuta. 2 white lights, a strong end to the day there for the Croatian lifter. Just one final deadlift in the 57B group here. Will it be enough to scrape a deadlift medal overall?
207.5 is maybe just a slight touch under what is going to be a podium finish. I think with 207.5 she'll rely on someone to miss, but I also think that in the battle for the podium position overall, someone is going to miss. So all to play for Catherine, and a solid total 435. That'd be a PB total of 9.5.
Originally she came in with 210 and they just changed it down to 207.5, I think, looking to ensure that final pull.
It's not there on the day, so that severely hinders our chances at a deadlift medal, but still 202.5, by far the biggest deadlift of this B group of 57s. Second biggest deadlift being 177.5, belonging to Jakubovic from Croatia. Biggest total of the B group, 430, Kilmartin. Second biggest, Acevedo from Portugal. And third biggest, Jakubovic with 420. But we might see 2 or 3 ladies reach the 500s in the 57s. So the A group at 4, tune in.
Now we head through to the 74B group, and kicking us off we have Jason Margaret from Belgium, who unfortunately just missed out on that junior world record bench press. 190 on the bar for him.
That's going to be 3 white lights, a good lift.
I think he was a little emotional after missing that junior world record, so well done to him for getting his head back in the game for deadlift to finish the day off.
Like we said, he's much more experienced in the bench only category. Just getting some experience, some reps under his belt in the classic.
Cameron Badalov from Azerbaijan, 200 kilos in the bar. Pretty tough off of the floor, but it's usually expected from sumo a little bit. It's a good lift.
Was very upright in the squat, still very upright in the deadlift event.
The bar is loaded on the platform from Malta. Sean Farrugia.
Sean Farrugia from Malta, 215 kilos. Pretty conservative next to his personal best of 252.5.
And now the bar is loaded. Sean Farrugia. 250 kilos on the bar for Sean Farrugia. Malta, give big round of applause for Sean Farrugia.
It does seem like a nice conservative opener for Farrugia. Gets his total secured. We now have Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria. Clock is running down for him for 222.5, and he's just adjusting his belt, it seems. It looks like they're trying to translate something to him. I think the TC is saying he's got thumb tape on from earlier, and I'm not sure the rules on that with hook grip, Alex.
You have the right to make one full turn around your thumb, around revolution.
Nice easy open there from Milanov.
But usually it's the chief referee that has to accept that. But I guess if it was controlled by RTC, that's fine. But some hook pullers completely despise that tape around their thumb.
Michael Bennett Diaz from Belgium, 225 kilos on the bar for his opening attempt.
That's an interesting pull. 3 white lights. With the new rules, it passes without a doubt, but it could have been worthy of reds for lack of shoulder lockout with the previous rules.
Tomasz Prijanovic from Slovenia, 230 kilos. If his deadlift's anything like his squats and bench, it's going to be pretty tidy, I'd imagine. Interesting he doesn't use much hip hinge there for the sumo.
Yeah, I would agree. It's looking like a leg press that he locks out with his back at the end, but 3 white lights, a good lift. And the new rule says that your shoulders should be behind the imaginary vertical projection of the bar. So yeah, that's the wording of the rule, but you can imagine how it looks.
I have to, it's imaginary.
Fair enough.
Murat Damlamayans from Latvia, 235 kilos.
Pretty easy sumo. 3 white lights. But yeah, this is as wide of a sumo as it's gonna get. Nice hip mobility. Toes to plate.
Leonardo Cruz from Portugal out now to 37.5, just 10 kilos off his personal best. And our final opening attempt of this flight.
I mean, he was first one in for bench, his last one out for deadlifts, and I can see why. 3 white lights.
Yeah, not so uncommon to see. With that, everybody has secured a total, can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being as they can push forward into their second and thirds, take some slightly bigger jumps, maybe start to take any risks if they feel necessary. We can see the totals as they stand. Of course, there's a 74 kilo A group to compete at 4 p.m. local time later today, so order is subject to change. Pijanovic leading the B group as it stands. 205 kilos for Jason Magarat from Belgium. 15 kilo jumping in the opposite case of Cruz. Last out on bench and first out on deadlift.
Yeah, just runs out of steam.
And I do wonder if that was an emotional toll being reflected physically after being quite emotional post-bench press.
Yeah, very possible. Like you see, cannot wedge properly. Maybe 2/10 adductors. Who knows, but not possible for him.
Cameron Badalov from Azerbaijan, 212.5, a 12.5 kilo jump. looks tough, but he does manage to get it locked out. Really executes good patience off the floor. And it is a good lift. I'm not sure how much of a jump they'll make to that third, because that beginning portion of the lift is tough, and his hips are so far forward. Have to wait and see as we move forward into Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria. 237.5, a 15 kilo jump and a 5 kilo personal best should he make this.
Yeah, that's a sizable jump. Hopefully one he practiced in training, because otherwise it could be costly. He's already missed attempts in the squat. He's recovered some solid momentum out of bench press. How does that look? No.
Oh no, he's showing the head referee his thumb tapes, make sure it's okay, because the TC wasn't sure about it. So, you know, not a bad thing to do.
Yeah, I thought he was going to shake the hands of the referees.
Yeah,
so I'm out for today.
Which I would have been so surprised about, but now he knows that he's fine moving forwards. The TC sees that as well. He goes into his second attempt, hopefully focused up now.
Looks like he's struggling to set up though, but not struggling with the weight. 3 white lights, a good lift. I wouldn't be surprised to see him load up 250, to be honest. By the way this one moved.
Michael Bennett Diaz from Belgium, 237.5, a 12.5 kilo jump. Unfortunately just not there today from Bernat Diaz. So both the Belgian lifters without that second attempt in.
But he seems to be shaking his hands as if grip could be the reason why he's cancelled the attempt. Yeah, look at the fingers. Yeah, I think it might be a grip issue rather than a strength issue.
Again, it's another thing that's hard to come back from. You know, there's an argument that a grip issue is its own type of strength issue if you can't hold onto the bar. It depends what it's, you know, the grip is coming from.
Very fair, actually.
So hopefully it's more of a case of packing your hand to the chalk and getting the bar brush down, but we'll have to wait and see. As Sean Ferrugia from Malta comes out with a 25 kilo jump to 240, and I thought the 215 was conservative, but not this conservative. It's a big jump, yeah. And you've got to wonder, would it have been better to maybe make a 15 kilo jump and then try and pace it a little bit better? Hindsight, as we said, is 20/20, but 25 kilos is huge in any weight class, but in the 74s particularly.
Yeah, but the thing is, usually the Maltese crowd was super loud when he came out. This time, the crowd was not. Maybe they weren't feeling the attempt, or maybe the lack of noise is why he failed.
Tomas Pionovic from Slovenia, 245. 15 kilo jump from his opener. 7.5 off of his best. And it looks pretty much copy and paste from that opening attempt.
It looks behind the imaginary projection of the bar. But so far so good for our lifters. Pretty happy we aren't seeing any troubles with the new rules. We're going to see some probably with the big boys. We're still waiting for some data. This is the first competition where the new rules are being enforced.
Marad Stamlamayans, 245, 10 kilo jump here.
Still looking good. Graves shows no signs of weakness.
The mark is loaded on the platform from Portugal,
Leonardo Cruz, 250 kilos, a 12.5 kilo jump for a 2.5 kilo personal best. Should he make this? Very solid looking second attempt, and he is amped up. He knows he wants to put a personal best on for that third. Jason Margaret from Belgium, 205, looking to retake that same number. And he just couldn't break the floor last time, and I'm wondering if he just was slightly checked out that time.
The thing is, he's coming out. So, and he's setting up, but this time it's no sumo, it's conventional.
Very interesting.
So it might be an adductor issue. But one of the first retake, we're gonna have 3 of them. We can see he's not used to putting conventional.
Yeah, it's tough to pull your top end after a long day of lifting in the style that you're used to, let alone if you don't train conventional and you're used to pulling sumo. Your top end conventional is bound to be considerably lower.
Yeah, imagine just, oh yeah, you're missing your top end, just close your legs.
I've seen athletes do it successfully before, but it is honestly an incredible miracle.
Yeah, but we do have some freaks of nature in some of those weight classes that can pull that off, but it's not common occurrence.
No, it certainly isn't. And as we're into the third and final round, this is the last time we'll see these athletes. So Cameron Badalov for the last time for Azerbaijan, 220 on the bar, the 7.5 kilo jump here. Again, very slow to the lockout, but he gets there, and that's what matters.
3 white lights. Had to work a lot with his back. Still very upright, very extended. That's going to be 3 for 3 in the deadlift event and 575 in total.
Six lifts remaining in this B group. Michael Burnett-Diaz, again, the other Belgian lifter, didn't manage to get his second attempt in, looking to retake it here on his third.
But he's winning the Belgian battle.
Just at that lockout, couldn't.
It's the grip again. That right hand just gives up on the bar.
A little better than that second attempt, but like you said, grip being its own strength issue altogether, and in a different way altogether as well. Only 3 lifters missed their second attempt. So far, 2 of the 3 did not get it again on the third, and the third of which is Sean Ferrugia from Malta, who's actually out next to retake, and he took a huge jump here of 25 kilos to 240. It's not near his top end, 252.5, but it is equally as important sometimes how you get there, not just getting there. Let's see if he can pull it together this time.
The crowd's much louder and he keeps on pulling.
Wow.
See, that was the difference. 3 white lights, a good lift. He needs his decibels.
And he gets it there on the third. There's a huge frustration, of course, it comes with athletes of, why couldn't that have happened on the second? But I think well worth thinking. I'm glad it did at least happen there on the third.
And the bar is loaded on the platform from Bulgaria,
Miroslav Milanov from Bulgaria, 247.5, 10 kilo jump for a new personal best. Just loses it at the top there.
An up and down day here for him. He looks strong, but lacks standards and lacks grip. Hopefully he can find the answers to that in training to be even better for his next competition.
Marat Damlamayans from Latvia, 255 for his final attempt, 10 kilo jump. Not looking for a personal best on his deadlift today, but looking to cap the day off strong. And if he gets this, he's in a position to end third highest in the B group today.
He's reached the 600, squatted 210, bench 145. That would give him 610, which is pretty solid.
And it certainly shoots him up the nomination, so originally nominated 15th.
I think he's done it. He has 3 white lights, a good lift.
Yeah, and I think that leaves him, should all go well, for the A group later in about 12th overall. So he's moved up about 3 spaces from his nomination.
I think he'll take that.
Our penultimate lifter now, Tomasz Pijanovic from Slovenia, 257.5 for a 5 kilo personal best. This is a 12.5 kilo jump from his second. He's been fairly consistent today.
Yeah, but I must say this is a bigger jump than I had anticipated.
It looks like he's good for it if he held on to it long enough. Rainbow of colours there. I think the yellow for jumping the down command, which the centre referee seemed happy with, and the blue. Let's have a look here. Probably for the bar dipping at the top there when he begins to lose grip.
Yeah, probably.
And coming up to our final deadlift of the B group, the 262.5 for Leonardo Cruz. I don't think quite enough to run into the podium, but I think a huge progression on the deadlift he came in with today.
Yeah, he came in with 247.5.
So already progressed upon that on his second attempt. Now moving up even further here should he make this. What a huge finish to the day for Cruz.
And that was a long down command too. He made it work for it. 3 white lights and finishes his day strong. great finish from the Portuguese. That closes out the whole flight. We're done with the 57Bs and 74Bs.
Yes, we absolutely are. We can see the results of the deadlift as they stand for the B group, which is subject to change later, but led by Leonardo Cruz from Portugal. We have the A groups to come through later this afternoon at 4 p.m. local time, where results and order are subject to change. So please do join us in 2.5 hours time, where we will see who will walk away European champion for the 57 kilo women and the 74 kilo men. We'll catch you then.